Every married couple understands what conflict is, and certainly our marriage is no exception. We've had our ups, we've had our downs. Our downs have been very low, our ups have been very high. It's the in-betweens that we have a difficult time with, and those are the areas that we want to reside in most of the time, but it's very difficult to find that because to stay in the in-between area requires compromise, requires humility. And so often that's what's lacking. I found that to be true in my own life and in my own marriage, as well as true in the observance of everybody else's. It's common. There's plenty of material, plenty of videos and counselors and people who will give you their opinion and their expert view on things that will concur with this. But today I want to share with you how I resolved a marital conflict, at least for a time, because I'm not so sure that I still have it fully figured out. I don't know that I ever will. I think once I figure out the rules to the game, the rules will then change. The goalpost will move, right? That's generally what happens. But I want to share with you how I resolved a conflict at a particular time, and it did make a huge difference, and I hope it will help you. So if you find this video useful, please hit the like button, comment down below, share your experience with me and with other people who are watching the video and reading the comments. Before I do that, I want to share a few quotes about marriage that I think are quite humorous. I think you'll find them, funny and entertaining. Rosanne Barr said, "You may marry the man of your dreams, ladies, but 14 years later, you're married to a couch that burps." Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. Stephanie Beacham, I don't know who that is, but she said, "People keep asking me if I'll marry again. It's as if after you've had one car crash, you want another." Warren Beatty. Some of you may not know who Warren Beatty is if you're younger, but a lot of us guys will. We know what kind of guy he was. He said, "My notion of a wife at 40 is that a man should be able to change her like a banknote for 2 20s. Jill Bennett. She said, "Never marry a man who hates his mother because he'll end up hating you." That's really not that funny. That's actually really good advice. I have come to understand that fully over the years. If you don't pay attention to what the relationship is like between child and parent, you will not be aware of what you're getting yourself into. So if you're dating, ask questions, observe carefully. I don't want to make this video all about that, but I actually give that advice to my son. So Irma Bombeck said something very interesting. She said, "People shop for a bathing suit with more care than they do for a husband or wife. The rules are the same. Look for something you feel comfortable wearing. Allow for room to grow." That is brilliant. Malcolm Bradberry in The History Man said, "Marriage is the most advanced form of warfare in the modern world." Well, it's sad and it's true. It's very insightful. This is a quote from the show Cheers. Surely you remember this, right? It's a great show. And this is a conversation that took place between Cliff Clavin, played by John Ratzenberger, and Frasier Crane, played, of course, by Kelsey Grammer. So Cliff says to Frasier, he says, "How's married life treating you?" "Quite a change, huh?" Frasier says, "Well, Lilith and I did live together for a year before we wed. So other than the fact that I now see it stretching endlessly before me until I die rotting in the grave, there's no real difference." And the last one is by Albert Einstein. Here's what he had to say. "Men marry women with the hope they will never change. Women marry men with the hope that they will change. Invariably, they are both disappointed." Isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? Well, let me tell you about the situation that I had at one point. This is when we were very young. I say very young because my children are pretty much grown now, and this was when they were very small children. And from time to time, my wife and I and our children would go over to my parents' house and visit them. This is before my dad passed away some years ago. And my wife had picked up on something in the conversations that I was having with my parents that she didn't like very much, and she brought it to my attention at some point. And she was very upset about it. And she said to me, she said, "Why is it that every time we're at your parents' house that you always say something negative about my family? You always bring up my family and you never have anything nice to say?" Well, upon hearing that, I did what most of us would probably do. I denied it. I kicked back. I said, "I don't do that." "Yes, you do." "No, I don't. I do not." I argued the point. And she, of course, she wasn't having any of it. She felt she was right. I felt I was right. And that's typically how these things go. But lo and behold, in some future time, when we were over at my parents' house again, I was talking to them, and I caught myself doing that very thing that she accused me of. And I thought, wow. I didn't acknowledge it right then. I didn't fess up to it. I didn't even talk to her about it after I got home. But it got brought up again in another argument. She says, "You always say something negative about my family whenever we're around your parents." I said, "You know what? You're right. I do. I've caught myself doing that." And immediately she goes, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, you're absolutely right. I can't deny it. I'm sorry. I didn't realize that I was doing that." "Oh, I thought, I just didn't think you'd ever see that." The conversation went something like that. I can't, of course, this is too far back for me to quote verbatim, but I'm capturing the spirit of the conversation. And her appearance, her visage just automatically changed, and she became warmer to me, and she felt closer to me, and we bonded in that very moment. But what took place there was, even though I had denied the wrongdoing, at least I caught myself doing it one time. But it's important to be humble enough, and I wouldn't say I was very humble, okay? I'm not saying I'm the picture of humility, but it's important to be humble enough to come back and say, "You were right, I was wrong, I'm sorry." I'm not saying make promises that you'll never do it again. That's a tall order to fill, and it would be foolish to go there. And that's probably not what the other person is asking for. But it's good to admit when we're wrong and to give the other person credit where credit is due and tell them they are right. Too often we spend a lot of our time in our marriage defending ourselves and telling the other person that they're wrong in many different kinds of ways. But especially when it comes to confrontations and arguments, we automatically want to be right. And sometimes you might be. But when you catch yourself and when you find out that the other person is right, admit it. Just admit it. Apologize. Don't make promises, but just be willing to concede that they were right, and that'll make a huge difference. Now, has it happened again? Well, I don't think that has happened since then. I don't think so, because I was pretty conscientious of it. It does, when you do something like that, it stays in the forefront of your mind. But maybe I did, maybe I didn't, I don't know, but it wasn't a habit after that, I can assure you. But I've done many other things that weren't right, and I've not always followed this rule to the T. I still have a lot to learn. I still have a long ways to go. I still have room to grow, and chances are you probably do too. But I wanted to share that with you today because you might be in a riff right now with your spouse. Whether you're a woman or a man watching this, you might be having trouble. And what I want to say to you is if you can find out where they might be right about something, let them know. Let them know. Admit it and tell them you're sorry. So I hope that has helped you today, and and makes a difference, let me know. Just, share it with me, or don't. Keep it to yourself. And then pass that on to somebody else when something has worked, when something has medicated and soothed the ills and the angst of marital turmoil. Make sure you don't keep that to yourself. All right, guys, thank you for your time. I appreciate you watching. If you want to know what I have in my beard today, I think I'm actually using Olivina Beard Oil. I've had it for a long, long time. I'm not an affiliate with them. If I find a link for that, I will put it down below. I really like it. It's a thicker kind of a beard oil. I don't have any beard balm in it right now. I didn't even use heat or tension in my beard, so it probably looks a little more full or a little bit shorter. But that's what I use in my beard today. I will put, if I can find an Amazon affiliate or Amazon link down somewhere, I'll put it down below in the description. I'll put other links for other beard product companies that I use, along with codes that will save you some money. But if you have liked this video, please make sure you hit the thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Tap the notification bell so you can stay apprised of future uploads, and consider donating to the channel. You don't have to, but it'd be greatly appreciated. And I want to say thank you to each and every one of you that do hit the super thanks button. People like Santa Tom. Great channel he has there. Check him out likewise. And I enjoy my time with you. I hope to see you in the next one. In the meantime, be wise.